Today's lesson is Santorini, a Greek island fantasy. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Helen.
And today we're going to talk about an island in Greece, or I guess you could say an island off the coast of mainland Greece. And it's called Santorini. You might pronounce this as Santorini. But I'm going to say Santorini because that's the way Americans pronounce it if they see the word. And it's a Greek island fantasy. In other words, it's a great place to go if you've got this fantasy about ancient Greece or about being in an exotic place with great food and great architecture. Indeed, it will be one of the fantasies that you have in life to actually go to this place.
Right. So a fantasy is something that you think about or dream about that you really want or that you want to happen, especially something that's difficult to get. So Santorini here is being described as a Greek island fantasy, even though it may not be so difficult to go there. If you save some money and you made some plans, you can probably go to Santorini for a few days on holiday. But once you get there, you'll see that it's so beautiful that it looks like a fantasy. It doesn't look real. It looks like something from your dreams.
I should ask you, Helen, since you spent a lot of time in Italy, did you kind of go a little east there to Greece and check out this island?
No, unfortunately, I've never been to Santorini. I would love to go there, especially during the summer because it's supposedly very beautiful. The food is great. And, of course, you can go on the beaches and you can go swimming.
Right. And, of course, if you don't go to Santorini, I think there are lots of other islands in the Aegean Sea that you can check out as well. But today we're focusing specifically on Santorini, and it's a Greek island fantasy. Let's get to it. Let's listen to the first part of a lesson, and we'll be right back.
Santorini, a Greek island fantasy. Santorini, a small Greek island in the southern Aegean Sea, tempts travelers to its shores with lovely landscapes, picturesque towns, and a fascinating history. Known for its whitewashed buildings, steep cliffs, and marvelous sunsets, the island offers a feast for the eyes that leaves visitors in awe.
大家好，标题中我们来介绍名词 fantasy。它的意思是想象、幻想或是憧憬。例如 The little girl had a fantasy of becoming a dragon and living in a castle. 这个小女孩幻想成为一只龙，并住在城堡里。又或者说 Nora has a fantasy of living in a big house by the sea. Nora 对于住在海边的大房子有着憧憬。另外补充这个字的相关形容词 fantastic, F-A-N-T-A-S-T-I-C, fantastic. 它的意思是极好的或是了不起的。例如 You can enjoy a fantastic view from the top of that hill. 你可以从那座小山的顶端欣赏到极好的景色。又或者说 Jane had a fantastic vacation in New Zealand last year. Jane 去年在纽西兰度过很棒的假期。再来我们看到动词 tempt. 它的意思是吸引、引诱或是诱惑。例如Max tempted the nervous kitten with a bowl of food. Max 用一碗食物吸引那只紧张的小猫咪。另外这个字加上字尾 ing 就会变成形容词 tempting, 意思是诱人的或是吸引人的。例如 The desserts sitting on the kitchen table looked very tempting. 放在厨房桌上的甜点看起来非常诱人。或者 The company made me a tempting offer, but I decided not to take it. 那间公司提供给我一个很吸引人的职缺，但我决定不接受它。下一个我们看到名词 cliff, 意思是悬崖或是峭壁。例如 We stood on the mountain cliff and looked down at the sea. 我们站在山边悬崖上俯瞰海景。接下来我们看到单字 awe, 它是名词，意思是惊叹、惊奇，也可以是敬畏的意思。例如 The children watched in awe as the magician made a woman disappear from the stage. 孩子们眼带惊奇地看着魔术师，让那名女子在舞台上消失。又或者说 James tried to describe the awe he felt the first time he saw the desert. James 试着描述他第一次看到沙漠时所感受到的敬畏心情。
Santorini, a small Greek island in the southern Aegean Sea, tempts travelers to its shores with lovely landscapes, picturesque towns, and a fascinating history. So we find out in this first sentence that Santorini, first of all, is an island. It's a small island, and it's located in the southern Aegean Sea, and it tempts travelers to its shores. So when something tempts you, it attracts you and makes you want it, even though there may be something wrong or harmful about it. For instance, I'm often tempted by chocolate or by ice cream, even though I'm on a diet currently and I know I shouldn't be eating those things, but those things tempt me. They make me want to eat them.
All right, or many tourists are tempted to come to Taiwan because of the bubble milk tea and the chou tofu. But here, of course, this is an island and visitors are tempted to go there because it has all sorts of features. It says with lovely landscapes, picturesque towns, and a fascinating history. So these are things that tourists like to see. They like to see those lovely landscapes, which means areas that have nice mountains and rivers and the ocean and a beach and things like that. Things that are pleasant to look at. It's also got picturesque towns, which are small towns, maybe villages or whatever, that are probably next to the ocean, and they're picturesque. If something's picturesque, well, it looks like it deserves to be photographed. It should be in a picture. And yes, indeed, you're going to have some nice colorful buildings with some really exquisite designs and things like that. So yes, indeed, they are picturesque. You want to take pictures of them. And also the place has a fascinating history. Indeed, it's been there for quite some time, and lots of things have happened there over the centuries.
Right. And the place is also known for its whitewashed buildings, steep cliffs, and marvelous sunsets. So here we have three other qualities about the island. First of all, it has whitewashed buildings. So whitewashed refers to a wall that has been painted with whitewash. Now, what is whitewash? It's basically a mixture of water or chalk or lime. And this mixture creates a type of white liquid. And if you apply it to the outside of a house or a building, you get this very clean white effect. So we have these whitewashed buildings. We also have steep cliffs and marvelous sunsets.
Yeah, a cliff is a part of the land that is very high next to the ocean, usually. And of course, there are lots of cliffs along the east coast here in Taiwan. It's a steep rock face, and it's usually right next to the ocean. And so you can see those cliffs there. They're very picturesque. They're very scenic to check out. And also, if you wait until 5 or 6 in the evening, you can see some marvelous sunsets. So a sunset is the time of day when the sun actually goes down. Of course, here in Taiwan, there are lots of lovely places to see the sunset, especially in Danshui. Lots of people flock to Danshui to see the sunset there over Guanyin Mountain and the Pacific Ocean. Now, the island offers a feast for the eyes that leaves visitors in awe. So a feast for the eyes just means it's something really pleasant to look at. You could use this to describe all sorts of things that are good to look at, like a beautiful woman that's a feast for the eyes, or a great scene in a movie that's a feast for the eyes, or some great scenery that would be a feast for the eyes. Remember, a feast is just a large, scrumptious meal.
Yes, you can also say a feast for the senses, which means something is appealing not just visually or not just good to look at, but it's also good to hear, to listen to. Maybe it has a very nice smell, or it has a very nice sensation when you touch it. So if something is a feast for the senses, it means that it's pleasing to all 5 senses. And here we're saying that Santorini is an island that offers a feast for the eyes because it's beautiful, and it leaves visitors in awe. And awe is a feeling of amazement that you have when you are faced with something really great, really wonderful. It's also kind of like a feeling of respect. So if somebody does something really well, like a basketball player or a tennis player makes a score that seems almost impossible to do, you might say that you are in awe of what that athlete has done. And here, the island leaves visitors in awe, in amazement, because it's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful that they are maybe a little fearful of it. They're a little afraid of it, and they have a sense of wonder about that thing. I was in awe the first time I saw Taroko Gorge. It's really impressive. And I stood there for quite some time just staring at those marble cliffs over the river there in Tailuge, Taroko Gorge. But indeed, there are lots of things to see in Santorini. They leave visitors in awe. They go, oh, wow, this is such a cool place. I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson. Let's listen now to the second part.
One of the must-visit destinations on the island is the charming town of Iya. Located on the island's cliffs, Iya showcases the iconic blue-domed churches and narrow winding streets that are the calling card of Santorini's beauty. Wander through the town's alleys, enjoy the delicious local food, and witness the magical sight of the sun sinking into the sea as it paints the sky with a kaleidoscope of colors.
第二部分我们看到动词 witness， 这个字的意思是目睹、目击或是见证。例如 Because the woman witnessed the crime, the police wanted to speak with her. 因为那名女子目击到犯罪现场，所以警方想跟她谈话。最后这个字也可以当作名词使用，意思是目击者。例如 Those who witnessed the accident were asked to speak to the authorities. 那些事故的目击者被要求与警方谈谈。又或者说 A witness was called in court to describe what he saw at the crime scene. 一位目击者被传唤到法庭，以描述他在犯罪现场看见的事物。
One of the must-visit destinations on the island is the charming town of Iya. Located on the island's cliffs, Iya showcases the iconic blue-domed churches and narrow winding streets that are the calling card of Santorini's beauty. So, first we're going to look at a particular destination on Santorini, and that is the town of Iya. And Iya is located on the island's cliffs, so it's right on the edge of these tall stone walls, and it showcases the iconic blue-domed churches. So first of all, let's look at blue-domed churches. We know that there are churches, and these churches have domes, and domes are basically rounded roofs. So usually roofs are flat. These churches have rounded kind of roofs in the shape of a ball, and they're blue in color. And Iya showcases these churches, which means that the town displays or shows off these churches, and the town is very proud of it.
Exactly. So they've got those iconic blue-domed churches. They've also got narrow, winding streets. And all these things are the calling card of Santorini's beauty. Calling card here could refer to your business card or your name card that you give somebody so that they'll remember you and call you if they'd like to have a business deal or something with you. But in this particular case, it just refers to the unique feature of this place. All of these things are iconic of Santorini's beauty. They are the calling card of the beauty of Santorini. They are its special features. And wander through the town's alleys, enjoy the delicious local food, and witness the magical sight of the sun sinking into the sea as it paints the sky with a kaleidoscope of colors. So this, of course, is what you might do. You might wander through the town's streets and alleys, which means you just kind of take your time walking around, looking at things, taking pictures. You can enjoy the delicious local food. If you get hungry, you can stop at a local restaurant and be served some delicious food. Or you could witness the sight of the sunset, which would be the sun sinking into the sea. And when that happens, you will see a kaleidoscope of colors. Now, a kaleidoscope is a tube that you look into and then you kind of twist the end of it to change the colors. I think in Chinese you say 万花筒. And yes, indeed, here you're just seeing all sorts of different colors at the sunset. Oh my goodness, you're seeing purple, indigo, blue, violet, green, the whole spectrum.
Yes, and you can witness this magical sight. You can also say you can see this magical sight, but to witness has a different flavor to it. It kind of means you were present during this amazing event. So if you were to see it, you just look at it. But to witness it means I was there. I was there when this happened. I was able to see it. and it has a kind of different meaning from to see or to look at.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson. Let's go on now to the next part.
From Ia, you can take a special trail to Fira, the island's capital city. Along the way, you'll be treated to amazing views of the Aegean Sea and the distinctive architecture of Fira itself. The trail is not only a physical journey, but also a spiritual one, as it allows you to give yourself over to the peaceful and relaxed feeling of Santorini's natural wonders.
From Ia, you can take a special trail to Fira, the island's capital city. Along the way, you'll be treated to amazing views of the Aegean Sea and the distinctive architecture of Fira itself. So you are in the town of Ia, and you now want to go to Santorini's capital city, which is Fira, and you can take a special trail to get there. But the point isn't just to get to Fira, because the trip to the capital city is also very interesting. Along the way, you can see some amazing views of the Aegean Sea and distinctive architecture, the distinctive architecture of Fira itself. So if something is distinctive, it means that it has very special or unique qualities. It's not just any other type of building or churches. It's something that's special. You can also say, for instance, that the type of stew that you had yesterday had a distinctive flavor. It had a flavor that you had never tasted before. It was very special, and that's what made the stew distinctive.
Right, or my friend Lisa has a very distinctive voice. It's very special. When you hear her talking, you know it's her. She's got kind of a raspy voice that no one else seems to have. And so here, of course, it's got distinctive, unique, or special architecture. And that, of course, is the capital of Santorini, Fira. And yes, you can get there by taking a special trail, which is like a road that you walk on through a forest or on a mountain. And along the way, when you're walking on that trail, you'll see all sorts of wonderful things, views of the Aegean Sea. And, of course, you'll see that distinctive, unique, special architecture of the town of Fira itself. And the trail is not only a physical journey, but also a spiritual one, as it allows you to give yourself over to the peaceful and relaxed feeling of Santorini's natural wonders. This is a pretty long sentence here. We're talking specifically about the trail. So we've got this pattern, not only, but also. So it's not only a physical journey, but also a spiritual one. Now, if something's physical, it has to do with the body, okay? So, of course, if you want to hike on a trail, you need to be in pretty good shape. And if it's a long trail, like if you're trying to hike up to Jade Mountain here in Taiwan, of course, you need to be physically fit for that. And so here, if you're walking from Ia to Fira, it's a physical journey. You're going to have to do some hiking, some walking there. But also we've got a spiritual journey, which means having to do with the soul.
Right. So aside from walking on this trail, and this trail may be easy or hard to walk on, to travel on, because you might get tired or it might be relaxing. So whichever it is, whichever physical sensation you get, it's still a physical sensation. You'll also get a spiritual sensation, which is something that's related to how your mood is when you're there, how you react psychologically, how your mind works, how your emotions work when you're on this journey. So those are spiritual aspects of the journey. And when you're there, you should give yourself over to the peaceful and relaxing feeling of Santorini's natural wonders. So when you give yourself over to something, it means that you let that thing take over you and you don't think about anything else. You're not worried about what you're going to do when you get back home from your holiday, the work you have to do, or going back to school. You're just completely immersed in the peaceful and relaxing feeling of Santorini's natural wonders.
Right, to give yourself over to something or just to let yourself go. Maybe you've had a long week of work or of school, and so you go to a nightclub with your friends and you give yourself over to the music. You just let the music flow through you. You dance. You just move in whatever way you want to. You don't worry about what you look like to other people. You're just totally relaxed. And in this particular case, if you take that physical hike and it's also a spiritual hike for you, you can give yourself over to the peaceful and relaxed feeling of the natural wonders of Santorini. So you can see all sorts of wonderful features there. And it might actually be a religious experience for you. You might find yourself imagining Greek gods and goddesses flying around in the sky around you, and you might want to become a polytheist as a result of that hike.
Who knows? That could happen. So many things can happen when you go on this journey, on this trail from Iya to Fira. You get to see a lot of beautiful sights, a lot of beautiful scenery, and you may also come back a different person after this trip.
Indeed. Sounds like a pretty cool place to go. And because it's so cool, we're going to continue talking about it in our next program. But right now, we need to hear from Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始提到，圣托里尼是爱琴海南部的一座希腊小岛，以其美丽的自然景色、如画一般的城镇和迷人的历史吸引游客前来。好，那文中它是用到 picturesque 来形容风景如画的，有自然美景的。这边我们来介绍一下它的字尾，这个 esque。好，这个是形容词字尾，用来指出风格啊、相似的地方啊，或者是某种特色，可以去表达以什么什么方式的，或者是像什么什么的。那在 picturesque 这个字当中， picture 我们知道是图画嘛，那么字尾 esque 它表示什么什么似的，那图画似的就可以知道说 picturesque 它是描述如画一般的或是优美的那种意思咯。好，那也补充几个有相同字尾的单字。第一个是 statuesque。 好，它是由 statue 雕像，然后呢再搭配这个 esque 表示什么什么似的，字面意思就是如雕像一般的，那就可以用来描述它是像雕像般庄严而优雅的，或者是体态高挑优美的。那补充一下，它是拼作 statuesque statuesque。 好，第二个补充的是 Japanesque，就是在 Japan 日本后面加上 esque 表示什么什么风格的，所以合在一起 Japanesque 就可以描述是日本式的或是日本风格的。好，课文第二部分有介绍了伊亚小镇，它展示着具有标志性的蓝色圆顶教堂和狭窄蜿蜒的街道，那这些都是圣托里尼美景的特色。文中是用 The calling card of Santorini's beauty 来表达圣托里尼美景的特色。好，这个 calling card 它可以指说上面是有写着姓名啊、联络方式的名片，不过呢也可以引申指说标志特色，像是展示某人或某事物典型特质的标志特色。举例来说， Her radiant smile is her calling card， 她那灿烂的笑容就是她的特色。好，那么课文第三部分的第二句写道，一路上你将能欣赏爱琴海的惊人景色。我们这边用到 along the way， along the way 可以指沿途在路上，不过其实它还可以引申表达在过程中，表达说在某事物发展的过程中。好，那我们就用这两个意思来分别造个例句。第一个例句是 They stopped at a convenience store along the way to get some coffee。他们在途中的便利商店停留买个咖啡。好，第二个例句是 Success is rarely achieved without failure along the way。 成功的路上难免会遭遇失败。好了，那以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Fantasy. Hugo's dreams of becoming a famous athlete are pure fantasy. Tempt.The smell of the freshly baked cookies tempted Darlene to abandon her diet. Cliff. Leslie dove from the cliff into the water below. Awe. Gabriel was filled with awe by the power of the giant waterfall. Witness. I was happy to witness a truly amazing performance at the concert last night. Distinctive. Wanda's distinctive laugh can be recognized from across a room. Spiritual.Engaging in hiking allows Adam to experience spiritual development and find inner peace.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoy reading along with us. I am Helen.
I am Roger. See you next time.